Today, we're going to make gluten-free, plant-based, oatmeal, peanut butter, chocolate chip, banana cookies that are also low-fat and actually taste good.
It tastes really good.
I think that was the longest intro for a food that I've ever had to do. But anyway, let's get started. So to start off, you want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Celsius will be right here. And have a food processor ready. So what's the first ingredient?
You may notice that our food processor looks dirty. That's because we just made another batch of cookies right before this one, which hopefully you've already seen. If you haven't,
came out 2 weeks ago.
That was our oatmeal raisin cookies, and I'll make sure to link those in the description below because they're yummy too. We're not going to start with oats though, because we learned from our oatmeal raisin that we actually want to start with some mushier ingredients first. That is one banana.
I'm just going to break the banana into smaller pieces. It doesn't really matter. The banana is not really the issue here. It's the dates.
The dates are the issue. These are Gluten dates, and they are pitted. Please make sure that your dates are pitted. Otherwise,
pitted means they don't have pits.
Right. And we need 4 of those. And Ryan is going to take those over and pulse them so that they're nice, small chunks.
Make a mash. So as you can see, I just pretty much blended it up. There's some pretty big banana pieces in there still, but it's okay because we have some more pulsing to do.
Next up is 2 cups of rolled oats.
These are just regular old-fashioned rolled oats, not instant oats. The same kind that you make like oatmeal out of. There, you just throw it in the microwave. You know, we all do that, right?
And that's going to be pulsed some more.
Be right back. As you can tell by looking at that texture, we want it to be still looking like oats, but kind of ground up just a little bit. So I have some larger pieces and smaller pieces. I did not scrape down the sides at all. And it was literally like 3-second bursts on the food processor. It wasn't much. But I want to get this out of here now, right?
Mm-hmm. We're just going to transfer this mixture to a bowl.
Get it all, you know, you paid for it. I don't want to pick on other cooks, but I see so many people that like half the mixture still in the bowl. And they're like, all right, I'm just going to put this aside. I'm like, what are you going to do with the rest of it? I don't know. I make food to eat it, not to just, you know, show it off. Oh, that piece right there. All right. And then
it's time to add the peanut butter. But because we're going low fat, we're going to be using PB Fit because we have found that PB Fit has hardly no fat. We're going to be using 2 tablespoons, and 2 tablespoons only have 2 total grams of fat, 0 saturated fat.
Right. Basically, it's just dehydrated peanuts, more or less. If you don't want to use this and you're okay with actually using peanut butter, you can just use 2. You wouldn't even need 2 tablespoons. You need like 1 tablespoon of peanut butter.
Yeah. Because
this makes more, you know what I mean. What did we say, 1 tablespoon?
2.
I was going to say, got to use, you know. This is one of my favorite things as a sub to get the nutty flavors into things without worrying about the fat because there's very low fat in it. But it also acts as a little bit of a binder in this one.
Next up is salt and baking powder. We have found that salt is kind of necessary in cookies. Otherwise, they just taste weird. But we only need half a teaspoon of salt. A full teaspoon of baking powder.
You can leave the baking powder out if you really want to, but it does give a little lift to the cookies. Makes them a little nicer, you know.
So the dates are in there for sweetening, but we need a little bit more moisture and more sweetening.
Yeah. As you can tell, they're getting a little dry.
Than what we have. So we are going to be using maple syrup.
Am I measuring that?
2 tablespoons, please.
2 tablespoons. Someone will ask, can you substitute agave? Sure. Essentially the same thing. You're just looking for something to sweeten it that has a little bit of a stickiness to it.
And then you want to mix it up real well.
We got anywhere to put that?
Yeah, we can put it inside here. And at this point, you can use the back of your spatula to smoosh it down together because you want to get the moisture into those oats. And right now, the moisture that we have is the maple syrup and the banana itself.
Right. You can add some water, but I wouldn't. When I was making this in testing, I always thought, oh, I'm going to need some water. And then when it actually came down to it, I never did.
Fantastic.
Yeah, the texture actually came out lovely on these. Right now, it's smelling like peanut butter and banana with just a touch of maple syrup. It's a really awesome thing. What you want to do, though, is make sure that all of your oats are wet. If they're not moist, like you can tell, oats turn color. They go a little bit darker when they get wet. Make sure everything is touched.
Because we're not using any fats and we're not using any egg, it is really the gelling property of the oats themselves that is going to act as a binder for this recipe.
Right. Well, we have other things in there that actually act as binders, like bananas act as a binder. The maple syrup is acting as a little bit of a binder. Even the PB Fit acts as a little bit of a binder. So these cookies hold together really, really nicely. Okay, what's next?
The final ingredient is perhaps the most important ingredient, and that's the chocolate chips.
When choosing chocolate chips, make sure that you get ones that are fully plant-based.
Yeah.
What are the ingredients in these?
So what you're looking for is that they don't have any dairy milk. If you see something like cocoa butter,
Yeah, that's fine.
just the fats in the cocoa itself. It is not a dairy. So this has unsweetened chocolate, cane sugar, and cocoa butter.
Right. And they're calling for a tablespoon. 1 tablespoon has 6 grams of fat. So these are not no fat cookies, but they're lower fat than most chocolate chip cookies would be.
And we're only going to be using 1/3 of a cup.
Quarter of a cup.
Sorry. Right. We used 1/4 cup.
We did a third once.
Yes.
It was too much. Okay, so
use them
quarter
all?
cup. Yeah, I used them all. Look at that. Right down to the wire. Okay. And then you want to try to mix them through. It doesn't work well. I will just admit this right now. When I did it with a 1/3 cup, it was even worse. Some cookies were basically chocolate cookies with a half oatmeal.
But
It
if
was
you're a
kinda weird.
chocoholic, you can do a larger amount. It still worked. It was
We're
just more
trying to
difficult.
keep the low fat though.
Yeah.
And it's much harder to mix them and form them when you have too much.
Yeah.
One of those times that more is not better. Okay, I'm going to mix this, and it's going to take a while. And I advise you to take your time mixing it too. If you look what I'm doing, I'm like folding it over and blending it together. That separates and distributes those chocolate chips a little bit better because this is a tough mixture. You can see it. It's forming together really, really nicely. It's kind of firm. It's a strong mixture.
This equates as an arm day.
Yeah, for one arm. If you switch hands, then you can get a good workout in. I'm not that dexterous. I'm not going to try. I'm not going to embarrass myself on camera. All right, I think we're ready.
So now it's time to get our cookie tray and start forming cookies.
All right, so I have a container of water, just regular plain old water. Cool water is good. And we have a sheet tray with a silicone liner. You can use parchment paper if you want. If you saw our other cookie video, you know what I'm going to do next. This recipe makes 9-ish cookies. It makes 9 the way I do it. I'll tell you that right now. So I'm flattening it in the bowl just a little bit, and then I'm just going to mark it off as 9. That's how I get 9, because it's a much easier thing to do 9 than other numbers. But, equality is not always working out here. I'm just trying for... Okay, so this is just not working as well as the last time, but it's okay. I kind of marked off 9-ish. See, it's okay.
Those chocolate chips kind of get in the way.
They really do.
Right.
And the water is to keep it from sticking to my hands. But what it also does, a secondary thing, is it adds a little extra moisture into each cookie. And if you see that one's a little smaller than another, just tack a little
Borrow
more.
from its neighbor.
Yeah, exactly. No big deal. And I just kind of roll it into a ball and then flatten it. It's kind of like making mini burgers, This one's probably going to be too small. That seems to happen to the first one out of every batch. I don't know why. It happened on the other one too. And it happened the other day when we were testing. But you didn't see that because we didn't film it. So just form out your cookies. And like she said, if you have to borrow from one to give to another, it's okay that you're looking for 3/8 of an inch thick or so. And they should be about 2.5 inches in diameter. I'm just going to do the rest of these and we'll be back when I'm done. They're all roughly equal in dignity, and now they go into the oven for 14 minutes at 350 degrees. What you're looking for is just a lightly golden brown, very lightly golden brown. They should look like they didn't cook enough, but trust me, they'll be fine. After 14 minutes, the cookies are done. But what you want to do is get them off of the hot tray and onto a cooling rack. And by the way, see the slight golden brown color? That's what we're looking for. Because if you go too long on these, you can melt the chocolate chips and it just turns into a big mess. Notice they're holding together. Oops, lost a chocolate chip.
Oh no, I have to eat that now.
Yeah, you do. The benefits of doing the cooking, you get the leavings, as Derica likes to say, that fall off of things. Now, somebody's going to ask, can you make these bigger or smaller? Smaller, probably not. They might burn too easy. Bigger, here's the problem with that. They might not cook all the way through in the same amount of time before they actually start to crisp up on the outside, which is not really what you want. I like them to be just like this size. That's why this recipe does 9. If you need more, make a larger batch. Okay, so I'm going to let these sit for like half an hour or so. We're also going to end up taking some pictures of them and video and stuff like that. And we'll be back for a tasting. Okay, we're impatient. They've been sitting for maybe 15 minutes. We did some pictures. We did some video. It's time to taste one of these. I'm just going to grab one right off the top. And I want to show you the texture. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. And the chocolate chips are melty just enough. But on the smell, I definitely get peanut butter and chocolate. The banana comes through in the flavor more so than in the smell. But yeah, here we go. Wow. These are absolutely amazing. Now, they're a little more fat than the oatmeal cookies, but they're still about 3 grams each. I mean, they're not crazy.
And all the fat is really from the chocolate chips. So
yeah, well, there's a little bit in the oatmeal, but not a tremendous amount.
The vast majority of the fat is from the chocolate chips. So Brian's and my favorite flavor combination for desserts is banana, peanut butter, and chocolate. And that's what inspired this recipe. If that is your favorite, then I highly recommend you make the batch of these for you.
The chocolate chips are creamy and beautiful, and that helps. I'm definitely getting like the oatmeal and peanut butter thing is really, really nice together. The nuttiness of the oatmeal with the peanut butter works. And the banana, it's almost like after you chew it for a while, you go, oh, there's the banana. It's really amazing how good these come out. And they're super healthy. I would say it's whole food plant-based, but it's really not because the PB Fit isn't truly whole food plant-based because the fat has been removed and things like that has been removed. But they're more or less whole food plant-based and they're pretty low fat. But they are damn delicious. They are amazingly good. And I could sit here and eat the whole plate, but that would be a bad thing, so I'm not going to. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you next time on The Bistro. Today we're going to make gluten-free oatmeal, banana, peanut butter, chocolate chip cookies. Plant-based and low-fat. Wow. That's insane. I need to do that again. Today we're going to make gluten-free oatmeal, peanut butter, banana, chocolate chip cookies that happen to be, well,